Aphrodite, thanks for jumping on. So for those that don't know, Aphrodite, I don't know, I feel like she just started like 2 months ago, but I say that every 2 months, and it's probably been 3 years. But she didn't necessarily have the easiest start, or a lot of people see top producers and they think, oh, they just had it figured out from the beginning. I mean, she's definitely had ups and downs and bumps along the way, but she has figured this thing out as far as telesales, and I'm really excited for her to be on and share exactly what she's doing. Now, what we're going to do with Aphrodite is we're actually going to do a full-on phone presentation, so you can hear exactly what she says, how she says it, how she gets to the app, how she closes, all the stuff. Before we do that, I'm just going to ask you some rapid fire questions, okay, Aphrodite? So, how much do you spend on leads a day?
$300.
Okay, $300 a day, so that's $1,500 a week. How much do you think you'll issue in January?
Oh, well, it depends because some labs, some I'm still trying to get approved. I run veteran leads, so my clients are a little older, and if they have heart problems, things like that, sometimes I'll submit some really nice apps, but they don't always go through. So it depends. I think I'm already at like 20. So
Yeah, I think you'll do 40. You're gonna do 40 before the end of the month.
thank you.
That's,
May
that's what I was hoping
manifest
you'd
that.
say.
40 will be great.
And so help 40 families by the end of the month issued, and about $1,500 a week in ad spend. Um, Now you use Life Agent Launch for their veteran leads. Anybody has questions about how to do that, text me after, we'll tell you how. But basically, they charge you a management fee for the ads, and then you just, whatever the Facebook leads cost as far as ads go, that's what you spend. So it's all 100% ad spend. Um, what's your what's your schedule look like as far as dialing?
Well, I start doing admin work at about 8 a.m. and I'm on the phone dialing. So my appointments, my Google Calendar for my veterans start there. It's open from 9 a.m. till 7:30 p.m. And I usually dial till definitely till 8, but sometimes like if it's different states like Arizona, I'll dial till like 9, sometimes 9:30. But 9 to 7 for sure every day. And Saturdays I work from 9 a.m. to like I say 2, but I end up being on the phone till like 4 or 5, 6 days a week. Yeah.
Okay, so people want to know what it takes to issue 40,000 on the phone. That's what you have to do. All right, so I'm a veteran. Call me. Okay, well,
Ring
before we do
ring.
this, okay, I'm
Can you guys hear me
71.
fine? Because I'm in the kitchen of like an office. Can you guys hear me fine?
Oh, I hear you great. I didn't
Okay,
even realize it
perfect.
was a
Let's go.
kitchen.
All right, ring ring.
Um, okay, well, let me give you the details first. I'm 71, and
Okay,
I'm
okay.
from North Carolina,
Can I take some
and
notes? All right, 71, North
and
Carolina.
and I was in the Marines.
When's your
Really was
birthday?
in the Marines, so that's easy.
Okay.
3/14/1952,
Okay.
53.
And are you married?
Yes,
Okay. Cool.
and
All right,
and
I'm ready.
I have a 50% VA rating.
Oh, perfect. All right. Is your name still Trey? No, I'm joking. Go
Yeah, it's
ahead.
still Trey.
Ring ring.
Hello?
Hey Trey.
Yes.
Hey Trey, this is Aphrodite. I was just giving you a quick call here for that form that you submitted, sir, in regards to the new final expense and life insurance options for veterans. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good.
I have here that you served in the Navy. Is that correct?
No, it was the Marines.
I'm sorry, the Marines. How long did you serve for, sir?
8 years.
Wow, that's huge. Thank you for your service. I feel like you guys will never think properly or enough for all the hard work that you did. So thank you for that, sir. I have your birthday here is 3/14/1952. Is that right?
Yes.
Beautiful. And I have here that you live in North Carolina and that you're happily married.
Yep.
Beautiful. All right, sir. I'm just a medical underwriter that's been assigned to you. My job is super simple. I work with veterans 6 days a week. I'm just the girl that's going to figure out if the VA or the private sector is a better option for you and your family. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Now, when you took the time to fill out this request, were you looking to just make sure that the funeral expenses don't fall as a burden onto your loved ones?
Uh, yes, but time out. So if you guys have questions in the little Q&A on your tab, put your questions in there, and at the end we'll answer questions, just so you guys know.
Okay, perfect.
So what was your question, Aphrodite? Final expenses or
You
what'd
were
you ask
just
me?
looking to make sure that the final expenses don't fall as a burden to your loved ones?
That's correct.
Perfect. Now, were you just looking to make sure that the final expenses are covered, or did you want to leave something behind as well as possible?
Well, I'd like to leave something behind too.
Okay, beautiful. And who would be that person picking up all the pieces, God forbid something were to happen to you?
That would be my wife.
Okay, I'm sorry, what is your wife's name, just so I'm not rude?
It's Jeray. It's Jeray.
Jure. Okay, beautiful name. How long have you guys been married for?
We have been married 42 years.
Oh my God, that's a very long time. At the end of the call, you're
Yes.
gonna have to tell me what the secret is. I always make that joke. I really do. All right. Now, really quick, sir, is this a cell phone number or a landline that we're on?
Something.
Perfect. I usually ask that because I send them over my credentials before and after the call. So I usually say, all right, perfect. There is a new protocol here within the state where they do legally require me to send you over a copy of my Department of Insurance license, just so that way you have it for your records to all the fraud going on, the crazy people that are out there. With that, I'm also going to attach my digital business card and my photo ID so that you can verify me and you know who you're speaking with. Okay? I
Sounds
usually
good.
send that over. I say, all right, once you lay eyes on my credentials, then I'll be able to proceed. All right.
I see.
And then I say, were you thinking more of burial or cremation coverage?
Um, Cremation, actually.
Okay. And have you ever
I
thought
used to say
about,
burial. Then I met this guy, and then he told me that he worked with a guy that was at worked in the cemetery, and they had to move some bodies one time, and they found claw marks inside the coffin. So I was like, I think I'm gonna get cremated now. So yeah, cremated.
oh, cremation? Okay. And do you know how much cremation is right now?
I have no idea.
Okay. So cremation is about $5,000. Now, God forbid something were to happen to you, what would that look like for your wife? Emotionally and
Well,
financially.
I she could probably squeeze that together, but she would lose some, she'd lose my income. So
Okay. So you just want to make sure that she's not stuck struggling or having to come out with all that financial debt, having to, God forbid, cremate you.
yeah,
Okay,
definitely.
makes sense. All right, so this is how this works. First, we're just going to spend about a minute or so just going over your financial situation, just so I can make sure that everything is within the budget and affordable for you. Um, just because my job is to work with you, not against you. And then we're just going to spend about a quick minute just going over some basic health questions just to help me navigate which carriers I can or cannot go with. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Perfect. A couple discount questions, sir. Are you a smoker or non-smoker?
Non-smoker.
Perfect. And you said you have a disability rating of 50% with a VA, correct?
Yes.
Beautiful. And do you use a local bank or do you use a credit union like Navy Federal?
Navy Federal.
Beautiful. All right. Now, what is your health like? Have you ever had any heart attacks, any strokes, any cancers,
No, no heart attack, stroke, or cancer.
any high blood pressure, diabetes, or cholesterol?
I have high blood pressure.
And what are you taking for that? Lisinopril, metoprolol, amlodipine?
Amlodipine.
I usually name out the medication just because if they hear it, they'll know. Most of the time, most of your vets will not remember their um, things. Any asthma or COPD?
No,
Okay,
no
beautiful.
COPD.
Any liver, kidney disease, any lupus, hepatitis? Okay,
Nope.
perfect. Any hospitalizations or surgeries?
Yeah, I had a pacemaker put in 3 years ago.
Okay, and did you have any bypasses or stents put in?
Nope,
Okay,
just a
and what
pacemaker.
was the pacemaker do?
Just keeps my heart rhythm good.
Okay, heart rhythm. Got it. And that was 3 years ago?
Yes.
And are you taking medication like warfarin or Eliquis for that?
No, I did it first though, but I haven't taken it since the pacemaker.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, anything else that I didn't go over or missed that I should know for your health?
Um, uh, I have gout
Gout, are you taking any medication for that?
only when it flares up, and it's been
Okay,
a while.
beautiful. All right, perfect. And now, just so we're on the same page and we're not breaking the bank, what is typically left over at the end of the month once the bills are all paid, including gas, groceries, all of the above,
Six
approximately?
hundred $600 or so.
Beautiful. That's typically what most of my veterans have. All right, Trey. Now, really quick. This is how this works. With life insurance, it's not as simple as going to like your local grocery store where you see it, you like it, you buy it. With this kind of thing, it's something they have to get approved for it. With that being said, the carriers will first look at what's called your Medical Information Bureau. Have you ever heard of that before, sir?
No.
Just to sum it up, it's just a compilation of your medical records and hospitalizations over the last few years or so. Unfortunately, we can't make our final decision today because it's up to the carriers to approve you. If it was up to me, I'd approve everybody, but I don't have that power. Um, Now, sir, do you know the difference between like accidental term and whole life? How much you know about life insurance, if anything at all?
Uh, well, not a whole lot actually. Whole life sounds like that lasts a long time.
Exactly. I personally like to educate my clients just a little bit. I know this is off script, most people don't use it, but the only reason I do that is because some they'll go to the bank and they'll think they're getting a $300,000 policy for like 30 bucks a month, and they won't know that it's accidental. That's exactly why I explain that. So I'll be like, all right, perfect. With accidental, you find out like your local bank or credit union, but it only pays out in case of an accidental death. So it's not a good policy to have at your age. Then we have term. Term is usually for like 10, 20, or 30 years. And once it ends, it ends. It's kind of like car insurance. Anything at your age would be going with what's called a whole life policy. And I'll be like, now really quick, can you go ahead and grab a paper and a pen for me? I'm just going to have you write down a few things in regards to your plan.
Okay, I got it.
Perfect. All right, so the first thing I'm going to have you write down is permanent coverage. And that just means that the policy is forever. It never expires on you. Second, I'm going to have you write down locked in. And that just means that the premium will never increase and the coverage of the policy will never decrease. It also comes with what's called living benefits. And that sir just means, God forbid, you were to get terminally ill or disabled, you could borrow money against your policy tax-free while you're still alive. Most people don't use it. God forbid you need it, you have it. Does all of that make sense? Do you have any questions? And if I'm going too quickly, feel free to slow me down because I do this 12 times a day. And I always make that joke.
No, that all made sense. Thank you.
All right, perfect. And then I say, all right, now I'm just going to enter all of your basic information here into my system. From there, it's going to navigate and tell me what carriers we can or cannot go with. Whoever comes back with the best options, I'll go ahead and give you your options. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And then I start asking for info. So I'll start with, okay, perfect. How tall are you?
5'8",
And I'll be like, how much do you weigh before breakfast? I always make that joke.
175 pounds.
Beautiful. And where were you born?
Uh, Ventura, California.
Awesome. And what is your address?
It is 12345 Main
Main
Street.
Street. Perfect. All right. So I'll be like, all right, I'm going to enter all of your information. Give me about 2 minutes here. I'll mute them. I'll start typing things in, or I'll just, make funny jokes like, hey, do you guys have any cats or dogs, or what are you guys doing today? The last person I had, I actually just closed a guy earlier today. He was 77. I wrote him, he had Parkinson's. I wrote him Aetna for 20,000 for 215 a month, and he got approved.
Nice. So where do you type this information in at?
Well, I know so it all depends on medical. If anyone has heart problems, I go Americo because Americo is a little bit more lenient with heart medication.
Well, like,
Usually with telesales, Aetna has a little bit of cheaper pricing. Lately, I've been using AIG Simplified. So I'll do either Aetna or AIG Simplified. Those have been my two top lately.
oh, I like that.
Now, if
So,
they're sick, I'll type in their information. I'll run them a prescription check through Americo.
okay,
I'll quote them Aetna. I'll submit an application for Aetna. If Aetna declines them, I'll go back to Americo. And they already kind of know the pricing. Or I'll just give them a call and I'll just get the confirmation code. I'll be like, hey, listen, unfortunately, we had to go to deeper search from Aetna. We're just gonna pivot to Americo really quick. Here's the confirmation code. and I just submit them a miracle. I did that on Saturday with a his and hers.
Okay. Well, what I'm curious about is like, all right, so let's go through those questions you asked me. I mean, you were basically getting into the app, but like when do you tell them price and all that stuff?
Right after that.
Okay.
So right
So
after
let's
I ask them all the questions, I'm like, hey, let's go grab on that piece of paper. So I'll quote them, say for example, Edna. I'll be like, all right, grab a piece on the piece of paper. I need you to write down gold, silver, and bronze. And I'll be
we're
like,
doing
gold is the
AIG
max.
simplified. Well, it's AIG simplified is what we're doing. Because
Yeah,
Jeff
I
was
love
on
it.
here. He already got mad at me about the ethos comment. So
So should we say? Um, so I'll be like, write down gold, silver, and bronze. Gold is the max amount that you can apply for here in your state. Not typically recommended, but I am legally required to show you all of your options. Just because even if they can't afford it, I want to show them the max. Because even if they go like midway, they understand that there's people out there obviously that need more coverage. And I'd be like, silver. Silver is typically what most of my veterans go with because it covers the entire funeral expense and it leaves a little bit behind for the family or future inflation, depending if they need to leave behind a legacy. And I'll say silver. Silver is just your basic funeral expense. Does that make sense? And I already kind of know who the bank was. So I'm like, hey, listen, I'll put in all the discounts that I can for you. And then I give them the numbers. And once I give them the numbers, say for example, they're like, all right, we want to pick silver. I'm like, all right, very, very important question. Now, if I was, since nothing's guaranteed, we don't know if you qualify. If I can get you approved, is that something that's affordable, comfortable for you on a monthly basis? Because I need to make sure that you can obviously afford that because I'm here to work with you, not against you. And you usually say yes, and they'll
yeah.
proceed it out. But
Okay. So
unless they
yeah,
say
that sounds
yes to that,
that's
and
affordable.
if I don't feel comfortable enough to them saying yes, I'll say, all right, listen, why don't we start with this with the basic package? Let's try to get you qualified. If we could get you approved, we can always go up. It's easier to increase than it is to get you qualified. I always say that to them because I rather make sure that they know they can have a policy than put them in a policy they can't afford than a chargebacks, it charges back in 2 months from now. Makes no sense to do that. So if I'm
Yeah,
not
that's right.
confident enough, I'll talk my own clients to a lower policy. I will.
Yeah,
And I do
that's
it quite
smart.
often. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. I do. It's like, I can make it work. And I'm like, actually, I'm not comfortable with that.
Yeah,
I'll tell them.
right. Well, good for you. That's a smart thing to do. I mean, the business that stays is the business that pays. So if I say, yeah, that sounds good, then how do you transition to the app? You're just like, all right, well,
I just
let's
start,
see if
I
you can
already have
call
all
her.
their information. So I'll confirm their address, name. I'll start typing and I'll be like, all right, perfect. Who's going to be is your wife going to be 100% the beneficiary? They'll say yes. And I'm like, all right, same address. Beautiful. Then I'm like, perfect. What's your social? And they usually just always give it to me.
Yeah.
I never really get social issues, but I already send my credentials and I'm very thorough when I speak. I'm like, hey, listen, this is my state license. That's my NPN number. If I ever do get one, I'll send them the link to verify my producer link. And usually after that, people will give you the social. In my opinion, if they don't give you the social, you're not going to get banking. So social is the main thing. Social is usually pretty easy to get. From there, I'll type everything in. And towards the end, when it comes to the banking, I'll be like, hey, listen, this last part of the application is called the anti-money laundering verification system. Even if we can't get you approved, they need to verify that you'll be the one paying for your policy and not some crazy person trying to kill you. Does that make sense? They're like, okay. And they already told me who I banked. So they'll be like, I'll be like, okay, perfect. As soon as I enter your bank name here, Edna will generate a routing number. And I usually just Google. I'll be like, our routing number for Navy Federal in California. And I'd be like, do you now really quick, do you bank online or do you use a checkbook like my grandparents? And the last lady was like, we do both. And I was like, wow, tech savvy at 78. And she was like, she's like, I'll go grab my checkbook. It's easier. So she went to go grab her checkbook and I'll just be like, all right, let me know when you have that information in front of you and I'll reach out the routing number. Let's make sure that those numbers match up. I'll read out the routing and I'll be like, okay, perfect. And do you want this set up from the checking or the savings? And I already know they're holding their checkbook. They should be like checking. I'm like, all right, perfect. Was that account number again? And they usually just read it out.
Nice. All right. Well, cool. And you're doing one call closes. You don't call appointments.
So
You're calling to
today,
get them.
actually, still have, I'm on my next appointment in a few, but I have like 8 appointments. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I had 8 appointments. I haven't closed any of my appointments yet. Both the applications that are submitted today, I've called.
Okay. So like you had a no-show, and then rather than just wait for the next hour or next 30 minutes, you
Oh,
dialed.
I dial all my, as soon as I get a lead, I'm like obsessed. I'm like, all right, because even though we're getting fresh leads, it doesn't mean that they're not filling out 100 other things that are 100 different websites. They're
Right.
online scrolling through. They could be clicking anything. I want to make sure. Even last like Saturday, I had a guy. He was like, 3 other people have called me, and one guy was super rude. So if they ever have a rude agent before me, I'm like, perfect, because I'm like, oh my god, I hate when they do that, and I'm just like, I'm very, and I'm super myself too. Like I don't. I yes, I follow the script, but I don't get robotic about it. Like I'll make jokes with them, I'll laugh, ask them for their grandkids. Like the old lady was baking cookies, and I was like, save me a cookie, or I'm very myself. And you always pick up the vibe of how people are, and you just kind of match the energy.
Right. Well, and as people go back and listen to this, I mean, you kind of want to look at it like bullet points. Like there's conversation in and out of it, but to get back on track, it's like, hey, have you ever had a heart attack, stroke, or cancer? You know, now you're back into it. So,
Yeah, yeah,
um,
exactly. That's exactly how I do. Because sometimes they get carried away, and I'm like, hey, really quick. Like she was telling me about her grandkid. I was like, hey, what's your social? And she just gave it to me. I was like, okay,
yeah,
cool, thanks. So definitely pause them,
got it.
because especially when they're older, they like to talk a lot. And time is money in this business. So you definitely have to be efficient with timing for sure. My appointments typically go for about 45 minutes on average.
So let's see. There's a couple questions in here. Oh,
I
do your
can't, I can
appointments
only see
book?
you guys, so I don't know who else is asking. Okay, I see them. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So, do your appointments book online on their own?
Yes. So or if I call a client and they're driving, okay, fun fact. If I have two people, they're married. The main question I like to ask is, hey Trey, is this decision something that you need your wife to be present for, or is this something that you take care of on your own? If they give me any kind of rebuttal, say my wife needs to be here, I will never go through a script or any numbers, because they're always going to hit you with, I need to talk to my significant other about this. Especially if they've been married 50 years, no vet makes a decision on their own. So from there, I will book an appointment. I will send them an email and my credentials with a text, and I'll have them say yes to that text message to like my personal phone on top of the system that already generates from the ads that I have set up.
Got it.
And usually
Um,
those show up. If they those are pretty, and if they don't, then I'll call back and I'll try to rebook them. And if I can't close them 2, 3 times, I'll call back in a couple weeks or whatever time I have set them for before.
that makes
Sometimes I
sense.
forget, they're older.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, good job. Um, let's see. Any other questions? You guys put questions in the chat. I know there's stuff people want to ask. How do you firm up the sale after? What do you do after it's all done?
So usually if it's been approved and I know it's been approved, I'd be like, okay, Trey, I have good and bad news. Which one do you want to hear first?
Dad.
Everyone always asks for the bad news. I'm like, all right, perfect. The bad news is that you're stuck with me for the rest of your life. Can't go anywhere else. And they usually always laugh. And I'm like, and the good news is that you've been pre-approved. They do need to verify that I did everything correctly. From there, they're going to do the initial premium. You're going to receive the policy in the mail in about a week after that. Once you receive your copy of the policy, make sure you give me a call and let me know you received this so I can check you off my list. I give them my personal cell phone number, and I say anything going forward, I'm your point of contact. You don't have to answer to anyone else. I'll close your file here in the system. Any questions you have, anyone that gives you a call, give me a call and I'll take care of anything that you need to change or any questions you have within the policy. And I make them save my cell phone number on their phone. And I'll send them a picture of me and my dog so they remember me.
That's good. Okay.
I do. And then I'll be like, okay, any questions you have, anything after that, give me a call directly. And I usually tell them, hey, if I don't answer the first time, I'm on the phone with another veteran. Don't be alarmed. As soon as I'm finished, I'll give you guys a call back.
What do you do if people ask you, do you work for the VA?
I say we're contracted through the VA in the private sectors.
Yeah.
I don't
What
say I
if
work for
what
the
if
VA because I don't work for the VA.
what if VA life is actually the best option? And for those that don't know what VA life is, VA life is a guaranteed acceptance life insurance program. It's
Yeah.
like
And
Colonial
the
Penn.
VA rates are higher. They have a 2-year waiting period. smoker, non-smoker have the same rates. Males and females have the same rates. So realistically, any care that we have, we can most like 98% of the time find them something cheaper and better.
Yeah, amen to that. You can come back here, Saul. It's all good. Sorry. Saul just got her.
Good. The bathroom's right behind me, so I'm sure you've seen people coming.
Yeah, so they yeah, that's really good that you do that. I think yeah, I can't think of anything else that actually trying to think of objections you get. One thing I have noticed, if you have a veteran on the phone and you challenge them about the wife, or can you make a decision without the wife? And if they say yeah, they probably actually really can. Like, no, the neat thing about these is not every single appointment has to be the husband and the wife. Like, there are
No, not all
individuals
of
that could
them.
do it on their own. Whereas I
Sometimes I
would
have
say
the wife
every
be
other
like,
lead I've
no, I
ever
need to
worked,
make sure he has one all the time.
yeah. And the other thing, you get a lot of single people with this lead type, right?
They're
Literally,
either
like it's
widowed
just
or
a.
divorced. Yeah.
So, what about I don't know. What'd you leave out, Aphrodite? Anything you can pick up?
I basically just went through my whole script with you guys.
Nice.
It's literally beginning to end to sum it up, other than me making funny jokes in between.
All right. Well, Aphrodite, thanks for jumping on. This is how Aphrodite
You're
helps
welcome.
40
Thank you
families a
for
month.
having me.
You are welcome. And $300 a day ad spend. She laid it all out there. They
Yeah,
know
I still
exactly what to
have like
do.
4 appointments, so I want like 3 more policies at least.
All right.
That'd be a
Cool.
nice day. If I could hit 10K today, would be nice.
Yeah, it would be. All right. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for jumping on.
Bye,
And
guys.
you guys
Have
make
a
it a great
massive
week.
day.